Quirky Birders, it's Lynn here, and welcome to episode 2 of your daily art challenge. Now, we finished the video yesterday with me just heading off into a bit of a mindful moment, shall we say, just adding in some different flowers to our lovely little quirky cow. So I've added in some sort of lavender spears here. I've got a couple of violets that I've popped in, and we've also then done those little 5 dotted sort of flowers and added the details to them. So I'm now going to continue and just add in a few more little flowers. Now, as you notice straight away, the balance is not right on the picture. Working with 2s, it just throws it off ever so slightly. So we're going to add in together a couple of extra violets. I'm going to show you how to paint those, and then we're going to add in another one of these 5 dotted sort of flowers, and also another rose, just to give it that little bit more of balance to the flower crown itself. So we'll start with the violets, and the violets are so easy to paint. So I'm going to use my finer brush, and I'm going to use a nice pale purple. And what you're going to start to do to begin with is just freehand. You're going to draw 3 circles together. So we're just going to group those 3 circles just together. Like so. And then you can fill not all of those circles in, you just want to fill some in, so don't do all of it. And then we'll group another one just in behind. So you end up with 5 sort of layered together. Now, in the centre of those 3 that we've just grouped together, you can just then pop in a little bit of yellow, just in the centre there. And then immediately follow that with a little bit of black, and just let those 2 colours just bleed together, just to give you that, that sort of texture of the centre of the flower there. I'm just going to just lift that up ever so slightly because that's just bled into the purple. Now we'll come back to that in a moment. I just want to let that dry, and then we'll come back to that in just a moment. So whilst that's drying, let's pop in a little rosebud, and let's just bring that just down here. Now all I'm doing for this one is just a very simple sort of U shape. And then we can put a little bit of a cup on the base of it. Just put a little bit of a cup on the bottom there. And then follow that by a stem. So we're going to have 3 of the violets. We've got 3 of the roses now. And then I've got 3 of the lavender, but let's make that into 5. Let's add a couple more lavender sprigs to our flower crown. So if you're wanting to do your lavender, it's just so simple. So all you're going to do is just from the tip of the flower and just dot and stipple your way down towards yourself, and that come a little bit wider as you're coming down the stem. Make sure that you've got some areas of white for the highlight. You don't want to be too heavy with it, and that just creates that lovely sort of lavender spear. Where should we put the second? Let's put another one, let's put another one behind the rose actually. Let's just tuck that one in there. So again, just almost wiggle and scribble your way down towards yourself, just to add in that lovely spear of lavender. Now again, it's very flat at the moment, but we'll come back over it in just a little while to add a little bit more detail in there. So we'll come back to our little our little violet here at the bottom, and I'm going to go back over that again and just add a little bit more detail. So just over the tips of the petals, you can just make them a little bit darker. And let's just add in the shape over there and come round the top. Now again, I'm just going to let that dry just for a little while longer, and then we'll go back in with the third layer of colour. Now we can add some grey to this flower crown, just to give us a little bit more, sort of almost a little bit of depth really. And I've just got a very pale grey mixed in my palette. And we're just going to use that grey just to bring some leaves and texture through, so we can keep them nice linear in shape, these leaves. So we're just going to add a different shape to our flower crown. And we can just pop those grey leaves just in isolation, because when we link them together and we actually add in the ink details, they really will show up. So we're just going to weave just a couple of grey lines and linear leaves just through our flower crown. Now it's at this point sometimes you can sort of begin to doubt yourself a little bit, and you sort of looking at what you've painted and it appears to be just that little bit sort of childlike and quite naive. If you're feeling that way, then just let this section dry now, and then what you can do is you can then start to just add in a couple of the ink details to begin with. You don't need to just wait for your painting to have dried completely. It is possible that you can then just start to go ahead and just add in those ink details, and it may help you. It may help you with your confidence. It may help you with your confidence of your painting. And then you can also then see where you need to apply any further details moving forward. Now the last little flower that I'm going to do is I'm just going to repeat that little 5-stemmed flower, just using the red. And I'm just going to pop that in just up here, just to give me that little bit of visual balance. So just very simply again, it's just 5 simple little dots that are grouped together. Clean the brush off, wet your brush, and then you can just apply the pressure just to create those lovely tissue-like petals. Like so. So we can just enhance those petals just a little bit, the shape of them. And let's just pop a little bit of yellow into the centre. Okay, so we'll come back to our little violet down here. And again, we can just add a 3rd layer of colour. Onto those petals. Lovely. Okay, so whilst our flower crown is just drying, we will turn our attention to the cow itself. And we're just going to do just a little bit of overpainting, just using that same brown that we started with yesterday. So I've got some lovely rich warm tones to that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of the sort of yellow ochre to it. So it just ends up warming up ever so slightly. And what we're going to do with this is we're just going to repeat that sort of wash effect that we did on our cow before. I'm not going to completely overpaint all of the area, but we're just going to just go over the entire cow again in a very, very similar manner as we had done before. So we'll follow some of these lines. And again, just keep it nice and light and loose. I don't want to be too heavy-handed with it at all. We'll come under the eye a little bit. We'll add some colour to the shoulder. And you can see you're just getting some really lovely textures on that coat now of the cow. Just getting rid of any hard lines that are forming. Just wet your brush and just use that water. We'll just soften off all of that area. Add in some extra colour to his ears. Just being careful of those flowers that we've painted. Okay. So we've now got some really nice texture going on with our little cow. Now what I am going to do is I am going to just spend a few moments now just adding in some of those ink details so I can just see just how the balance of the picture is working and how it's coming together, and whether I need to start to add some more little flowers to the illustration itself. But we can start some of that together before we end this video. So ink wise, I'm going to keep it a little bit finer. I'm going to go a 0.3 for the ink details on this. And what we'll do to begin with is we'll just work on the flowers that are actually dry, and then I'll continue and make my way around the actual rest of the flower crown. So we'll do a couple of these little examples here to begin with, and some of the leaves, and then I'll resume the video again tomorrow. So we can certainly start to outline the green leaves that we've popped in. So we'll bring that stem just down, and let's just pop that outline in. It's been quite sort of fluid with the movement, just to make sure we've got some really nice shape going on there as well. And just add in that stem. I've got a linear grey leaf here that I can add in too, so I'll just put a little line in the base there, and then let's just take that stem just weaving through. Same for the grey, and then the little 5-petaled flower. We can outline each individual petal. And then let's just put a little selection of dots in the centre there. We can attach it to a stem. A nice linear leaf there in the background. And pop a little bit detail on the stem there. With regards to the lavender, all you need to do with the lavender is literally just scribble down the shape that you've painted, Again, pop it on a stem. You can put a couple of little lines on the stem there for detail. Like I say, sometimes doing it this way just helps you just to keep that confidence with the painting, because you know that as soon as you add in the ink details, everything changes. The way that the picture presents just changes completely. So we can just do our little violets, so we can come around each of those petals that we painted freehand. Pop a little circle in the middle, and then from that circle you can add in the lines on those petals. Again, pop that on a stem. So all you now need to do is just take your time, and we'll just add in a few more of these details to our design. You can work on the little roses. Okay, so I'm going to continue now to just continue with these ink details, just to see where I need any further detail going in on my flower crown on my little cow, and then I will come back to you again tomorrow, and we will continue our painting of this really characterful little quirky cow. Take care now, enjoy your painting. I'll be back again tomorrow. Goodbye.